Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and what I got for you today is an interesting new, it's not a quadcopter, maybe we can call it a bicopter, or possibly just a multi-rotor. This is the Kagao, it's probably Kagao, space battleship. Now if you look at it, it is a multi-rotor aircraft, similar to, say, like a V-22 aircraft, with two rotor systems that provide lift for the quadcopter. There's a tiny propeller motor in the back that gives it a little push upward or backward or downward. I believe it's just upward. We'll find out here shortly. I'll see if it can go backward also. But that changes the tilt of the multi-rotor here to provide either forward movement or backward movement. Other than that, you can change the directions it's going by changing the, actually, this is the yaw control on this, believe it or not, and this is the pitch control. So when you give it some yaw control, it changes the torque on these rotors to provide either left or right movement. It also has the ability for yaw or roll control by pushing left or right here. Forward and back is the throttle control in this multi-rotor. So that's it in a nutshell. Additionally, there's an on-off switch on the bottom, and it has a little charging port in here. You can remove the battery, but I recommend leaving the battery inserted and charging it through the charging port here. It also has a light on the front. It's a little headlight to help in maintaining orientation. So overall, pretty nifty looking. But this will be the first flight of this thing. I tried to fly this at home, and I was a little bit confused. It took me a while to figure out that the yaw control is over here, and the roll control was on here, over here. So it was a little bit challenging during my first flight. So we're going to see if I can fly it out here in the open. I couldn't fly it indoors. It was just too difficult. But outdoors, I might be able to maintain control a little better, particularly with this different type of control that I'm not used to. I believe it's mode 4 control. So binding the multi-rotor. Okay, let's send it up and see if I can maintain control. Give it a little forward movement and turning it. Yeah, outdoors, no problem flying this thing. Indoors, it's a little bit confusing. Trying to give it forward movement, it doesn't want to do it. But applying roll control, it doesn't seem to be doing much at all. Full forward pitch, folks. Coming down a little. Obviously a little too high with it. Ooh. Let's take a closer look after that little accident there. It's still in one piece, so it's still flyable, but just showed how it's controlled. There are two motors, two counter-rotating motors with two main gears and two pinion gears. So, you know, one motor controls one rotor, and the other motor kind of rotates the other motor. So that's how each one of these motor pods is controlled. And again, finally in the back, there is a little pusher or lifter motor to give it either forward bank or backward bank. So other than that, that's the main control. So let's give it another shot and send it back up again. Okay, turning it back on and putting it back on the ground and turning on the transmitter, applying throttle to bind it. Okay, we're bound again and giving it some forward movement. This time I'm going to leave it down low. Okay, I'm at full forward pitch. It doesn't seem to go much. It goes backward quite easily. Okay, coming back down, reducing throttle. And when you reduce throttle, do it slowly or else the props will collapse. Now I'm going to move this back toward the center of the field. It doesn't seem to go forward very fast when you give it full forward pitch. What I'm going to do this time, actually, I'm going to rebind it, but I'm going to give it a little bit backward tilt to make it think it's tilted a little bit backward. Let's see if that improves the forward, because I think that the gyros might be the issue here. See if this helps it a little. Okay, rebinding. Yeah, that does. Actually, that back prop's not spinning at all. Let me try it again. That's the problem, folks. The back prop is not spinning. So I can't get any forward or backward movement. Let me rebind it again on a level surface. Rebinding. Turning the multi-rotor off and back on. Rebinding. Oh, that motor just fires up. Look at that. It fires up only when you want it to go in a particular direction. And it only does it momentarily. Watch that back motor. It stops and starts. Interesting how this works. See it starting up and stopping? Interesting. I guess it works well on paper, but it doesn't fly very fast. Let's bring it back down where you can see it. Turning to the right. Turning toward me now. If you give it little bumps, it seems to help a little better. If there's any wind, this is not going to work, folks. Interesting concept. Again, probably not something that should be flown indoors. Well, I guess you could fly this indoors. Okay, landing it and taking it back to the other end of the field because the wind's blowing it down here. Doesn't go forward very well, folks. I give it that little bit, you give it that little oomph forward and it gives it a little bit of a push and then it levels off. So, in effect, not a very fast flyer at all. But it works, kind of. Let's set it up one more time here. And you got to spin it up gently. Now see, I'm giving a full forward pitch here, and this is its forward movement, which is not very much. Interesting machine, huh? Now when I let go, that little motor stops. See that? Then I push it again and it goes forward again. I'm having to give it a little more motor here, a little more throttle. Okay, cutting throttle. And if you cut throttle too quickly, it drops. Don't do that, folks. One more flight and that'll be it. Placing it on the ground, spinning it up slowly. The wind's picking up here and it's getting a little bit difficult. This is not a wind at all flyer. You don't want any wind at all with this thing. There is no rates. I better land it. Reduce the throttle and there we go. So, overall, that'll be it. This is the Kagao Space Battleship dual multi-rotor quadcopter, not a quadcopter, multi-rotor. Again, controlled through two counter-rotating motors on each arm with two main gears and pinion gears. We have counter-rotating propellers here, and again, it is controlled. The yaw is controlled by varying the torque on the aircraft, and the pitch is controlled by varying this little motor. Either it runs forward or it runs backward to give a forward and back pitch. But again, it does not fly very well if there's any wind, and it doesn't move very fast at all in any one direction. So that's it. So again, the Kagao space battleship. Hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.